What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for TheLions.com. Let's talk some Monday Night Football between the Detroit Lions and the San Francisco 49ers. Reminder, everything due absolutely free, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below. Let us know how you are going to play this thing in the comment section. If you don't mind, give us a little thumbs up as well. This is sitting 3.5 now in favor of the Lions on the road over the 49ers. All the 4s got bought up. You can see some of the 3.5s are starting to get bought up here on the 49ers. We'll talk about that here in just a second. As far as the total goes, sitting at 50.5, as you can see. So what ended up happening is, with the way things all played out in week 17, this being our final week 17 game, the Lions and the Vikings will play week 18 for the number 1 seed in the NFC. So this game against the 49ers doesn't matter. And with that, people came in and speculated on the effort that we might get out of the Lions, perhaps even how much of the starters we're going to get, how much, of the full effort, full playbook, full everything we're going to get from the Lions here in this one. And I think it's decent speculation. Now, but that's the key word here, right? Is speculation. This is speculating. That's why it's a very hard game to handicap. So this is kind of, because Dan Campbell is not going to tell us what he's going to do, right? I mean, that's just not Dan Campbell's style. And Dan Campbell is probably a dude that is not going to rest his guys like the entire game. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think he's going to rest these guys before the week 18 game. Now, does he only play them for, half, 3/4? If they get up or down in this thing, does he pull them at that point? Again, we're speculating. Who knows? And that's what makes this such a tricky handicap, the way that this all played out. So, look, for me, the Lions are the better team for sure. I mean, we know that. The spread dictated that, and people are just going in and assuming that we're going to see lesser of an effort out of the Lions. Now, maybe in the second half, like I said, maybe if they get up or down. So maybe if you want to bet this thing on a side and you like the Lions, then maybe you just bet the first half, right? It's 2.5. And actually at these places with 3s, it's going to be less than 2.5, or it's, a less juicy 2.5, whatever it might be. So maybe just play the first half on the Lions and assume that you get, at the very least, the starters for a half, at the very least, the number 1 effort for a half, or a half plus. So that's kind of how I would go about it if I was going to play a side here in this one. So, I mean, from an injury standpoint, you can see Khalif Raymond, David Montgomery are out here for the Lions. Over on the 49ers side of things, you can see Dre Greenlaw is not going to play, and then also Charvarius Ward is out for a personal matter. So that's where we sit from an injury standpoint here on this one. You can see Guerendo is going to go for the 49ers from a running back perspective. So since we're just speculating, let's just go ahead and just speculate, right? So we'll do that through a couple of player props as well. And first and foremost, and this is normally we would never play something this juicy on the over pass attempts here for Brock Purdy, but this is a full 3 or 4 attempts below the rest of the market here at FanDuel. So I am okay with a super juicy prop when we are literally 3 or 4 pass attempts off of what is going in the rest of the market out there. And again, this is us speculating, right? So, hey, they're dogs. You would throw more when you're a dog, right? If you're trailing, you have to throw more. Further, if we kind of look like last week, and I understand Guerendo is going to be back this week and they didn't have a running back last week, but it seemed like Shanahan just kind of YOLO'd that game. Purdy had 40 attempts in that one, going up against a Lions team that, if there is any sort of weakness here, secondary certainly is something that you could look at for them. And honestly, Purdy in this offense was clunky just all year long. It wouldn't surprise me to see Shanahan just go out there and sling it all over the place and see if they can try to figure something out along the way. But for me, if you're talking game state, if you're talking kind of what you can do to maybe have some success on the Lions against the Lions, and then further just, again, playing into the whole deal of what if the Lions do just play the starters the whole time and do what they're supposed to do, then you're going to be in a trailing game state for this 49ers team. So I like the over on Purdy attempts pretty big. I actually like that a lot. And the other prop I'm going to play, and again, we're just speculating. The market high here on Jahmyr Gibbs is 94.5 rush yards. That's also found at FanDuel. I'm playing under 94.5 rushing yards on Jahmyr Gibbs, and this is because if there's anyone who might get a little bit of kid gloves here. So if Dan Campbell, even if he's like, to hell with it, no, we're playing our starters, we're doing whatever we can, I don't care. If there was anybody that might actually get pulled early or maybe receive a little less work or whatever, it might be Jahmyr Gibbs, given the fact that David Montgomery is already injured for this team. And Dan Campbell and their coaching staff and everybody knows just how important Gibbs is to the success of this team, right? 94.5 is a big number. And Gibbs is so talented. Could he get there even if they decide to only play him a half? Could he get there in a half? Sure, he could. It's not likely, but he could. That being said, I'm going to play on the fact that they give Craig Reynolds more carries than we've seen, more carries than maybe that we would think he would get in this deal, because I again, if there's anybody, even if Dan Campbell decides he's not resting anybody, not pulling starters, not doing any of that stuff, if there's anybody who would get lesser of a workload, I think Gibbs would be the one, considering that Montgomery is already hurt for them. So we're doing a bunch of speculating, so let's continue to speculate away, and that's how I'm going to speculate here on Gibbs. So playing the under on 94.5 rush yards with him, playing the over on the pass attempts here for Purdy. And like I said, if I was tempted to play anything on here, I probably would play the Lions first half, would be the way that I would look at this one. Full effort, full team, full everything, at least for a half would be my guess. I mean, like, even if he has plans on being somewhat conservative here in this one, I think we at least get full effort for half. So that's how I'm playing this. Again, the way that things played out, guys, it's a very tough handicap. I mean, their whole season is next week, right? They're trying to play for the number 1 seed where they get a bye and home field advantage throughout the course of the playoffs. So this game, while not important, is kind of not important. So we'll see how Dan Campbell and the Lions handle this. So we'll put in some plays, we'll put in some speculative stuff, and hope that things go our way here in this one. Guys, reminder, everything we do absolutely free here on the line. On the lines will be all the way through the Super Bowl here, talking all the football picks here. This is the upper right-hand corner of thelines.com. That is the Discord. That is also absolutely free. You can get in there, not just discuss the NFL, but all the other sports in there as well, with not only the writers and staff of the Lines, but also like-minded bettors like yourself. So please go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Wish we had more here in this one, but it's just the way that things fell, right? It's just a lot of stuff, a lot of question marks, a lot of stuff up in the air here for how the Lions are going to handle this game. Good luck on all your Monday Night Football bets.